Good morning and welcome to Desert Days Farms. I want to show you a little bit about my farm and talk a little bit about gardening and chickens and ducks and rabbits here in the desert. When I started my garden in the desert, I didn't have very much support, and YouTube had a few things that helped, but not quite enough. Gardening in the desert is very unique. Some people will say it's upside down, and it is a little bit. But I have done a lot of research, a lot of reading, classes, online videos, and I am definitely not an expert, but I would love to share with you while I'm learning in case you are interested in desert gardening and farming too. All right, this is my Taj Mahal, as my husband calls it. Why is it so big? Why is it so reinforced? What's going on in here? Well, you can see that the bottom is this corrugated steel. You can see the wire all the way up, but what you don't see is that there's also wire underneath the ground. It's so predators cannot dig up and get to your animals. The one big thing we have here in southern Arizona is predators. We have coyotes, we have bobcats, we have hawks, we have javelinas. They're not going to take out your poultry, but they are going to take out your garden. We have snakes. I'm sure I'm forgetting lots of important things. But predators are a very big problem here. And we'll talk about the weather on a different day. But today we're going to talk about why my coop looks the way my coop does. Now, my husband calls this the Taj Mahal because, it's kind of expensive, and it I think people could actually live in here with a few changes. But the big thing about it is that it keeps my girls and my garden safe with all of the wire. There's wire underneath so people can't dig under. There's wire on top so the hawks can't fly in and get them. And there's wire all the way around the sides. The corrugated steel keeps the pack rats from running up and getting into the garden. And it makes a big difference if you're wanting to take care of all of your growing and your girls. I definitely keep chickens. I've kept chickens for the past 8 years, I think. I kept chickens when I lived in southern Illinois, and I keep chickens and ducks here too, and I just love them. They're funny, they have awesome personalities. You can see some of my girls, and I have two boys. You can see them, they're waiting. They're like, oh, she's coming. I bet there are treats involved. There are my ducks sitting around a water thing. I have 5 different sets of water in their run because I want them to have access. I told you we talk about weather on a different day, but you can imagine that we need to have a lot of water in the run. So I have 2 coops. I don't know why Honey went through the... Why are you in there? Did you just want to have some alone time? They can get in and out of their coop from the side. So I have 2 coops. I have this really big coop and this little coop. And what are you doing in there? Did you need alone time too? What's going on? You know how to get out. And that's where they sleep at night. I keep them closed in there. And so currently I'm taking care of my son-in-law's ducks and chickens, and they're going to leave as soon as their escrow is completed. And so when they do, my 4 ducks will be in the small coop, and the rest of my chickens will be in the big coop. And then if you look over here, I've got some bunnies, and they are sweet, and I adore them, but they are actually for fertilizer. And then on this side is my garden, and yes, it looks like a jungle, and yes, it is a jungle. And in a few days, I will take you on a tour of the garden and talk to you about what I have and why I have it and all the things I'm learning, because believe me, I am learning a lot. But for today, I just want to explain to you why I have the setup that I have. Why don't I have a separate garden and a separate run with coops? Well, a long time ago, I was researching and I came across a picture on Mother Earth News that showed this kind of a setup. Half of the year, or one season, which here would be half the year. If you live in the Midwest, it would be every other year. But um, you put the chickens and the ducks, all the poultry, in one run, and you just let them do their thing. They fertilize, they live, they enjoy. And then the next year, you put them in the other side. And then they can eat the leftover plants. And then they can fertilize this side. And you grow in the original side. And you keep flip flopping back and forth season after season so that your fertilized ground is always going to be done naturally and organically. And I love the idea so much that this is exactly what I was looking for. It's going to be hard for me to do the flip, I have to tell you, because I've worked so hard in this garden, building little beds, doing all the trellising that you can see. Some of that's just to keep the birds out, but a lot of work has gone into this garden. So the day I'm going to flip it is going to be a hard day for me. But on the other hand, I just know that the idea is very sound. The idea that they get the plants, they fertilize when you're done, and then you get to go to a whole new section of fertilized ground. Amazing. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I have my chickens, my ducks giving us eggs. I do not eat my birds. I'm not against that. I just can't do it mentally. I mean, look at George. I could not eat George. I just couldn't do it. He's funny and bossy and silly, and I just couldn't eat them. Even this little guy, this little rooster here, Bug, he's noisy and a bit annoying, but they're funny, and I could never eat them. So yes, I am a carnivore. I do eat chicken, but I don't eat my chicken. They all have names, don't they? They all have names. So there's Honey. She's out already. That's so funny. Um, so they're happy and they're healthy and they love this system I have set up because they get a lot of room to run and play. Of course, they're all right here and they're not using the hundreds of square feet I have for them, but they are protected. And even though it's not all the way to free range, which is what I would prefer, I also prefer them to be alive. And the predators in my area are just too intense. Yep, there he is. I told you, noisy little guy. All right, everybody. I think that's enough for today. I just wanted to introduce you to my farm and it's a micro farm, I like to call it, my poultry, my garden, my girls, my rabbits, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. There's my other little rooster. Say hi, Cookie. Or goodbye, Cookie. Goodbye, Cookie.